Hey everybody, it's Ash Brown, the founder and CEO of Empiraa. We are the strategist software of choice, apparently. But I'm here, a part of our Cut the Fluff series. This week we're chatting with Rob Stone from CoachBar. And Rob, I'd love for you to tell us all about CoachBar and Appintree and ChannelBoost and all these things, and then you can tell us in your own words, what is ChannelBoost and Appintree and CoachBar?
Thanks, Ash. Great to be here. Great to be invited. So appreciate it and love the name of the webinar as well. So try and keep the fluff to a minimum. I think most Aussies don't really like to talk about themselves too much. And I'm definitely one of them. But I think why we built Appintree and ChannelBoost probably goes back to a bit of history of things that frustrated me in the past. So I've been in the partner space for over a decade now, I would say, mostly at Xero, which is a great company, amazing people. And we scaled a partner program there. No one ever does it by themselves. It was a wonderful team, or teams of teams. But as we were growing it, naturally, when you fall in love with customers, in this case, accounts and bookkeepers, there's a lot of things that you wish you could do for them. And I think from all of those frustrations, that's where ChannelBoost was born from. So, what do? We scaled with a bunch of amazing Xeros, around about 2,000 accountant bookkeepers, and over a decade, I think it rose up to over 20,000 active accounts and bookkeepers just in Australia alone. Obviously, that's a lot larger. I mean, that's going back a few years now. But what was also interesting that during that time, there was a lot of other initiatives that were going on. Some of them are still there today, others aren't. And what's super interesting is even though something gets deprecated, does that mean that there's not enough value there, or is the timing not right? And I don't know the answer to that. But one of the amazing things, and it was really a privilege for me, was there was all these people out there that were called, in Xero language, cloud integrators. And these cloud integrators, I mean, they're effectively software consultants, but literally right at the apex of their profession. So almost, I would say, like the brain surgeons. And that's a shout out to Jeffrey at Xero at S&B Consultants. They're just, through experience, expertise, and project management guru-ness, even if that's not a word, they're just amazing. And they're able to stitch together app stacks that optimize app stacks for businesses. So there was this channel called Cloud Integrators at Xero, and not just in Australia, but in all the regions. And they're just incredible. But they were occasionally showcased at XeroCons, promoted, but then probably got left behind as Xero focused on just the core accounts and bookkeepers. So 2 years ago, we came along and it was like, there's an amazing cohorts of brain surgeons who know how to actually build app stacks for clients. And so that's where we fell in love with this problem of like, how can we help them? And to be fair, we've moved around, we've pivoted, we've made a lot of learnings over the last couple of years. But one thing that's kind of been consistent through all that is this problem set. And, I know I'm kind of going on here a little bit too long now, but what is this problem set? The problem set is threefold. And one is, how do you get the best outcome for small businesses to be on their best app stack? Why is that relevant? Like, I think all of us know that moving forward, technology is going to play an ever-increasing role in the survival of small businesses, regardless of country. So you need great software, you need great implementation, and you need to make sure that those implementations aren't done in isolation, that they're actually holistically looking at the app stack of a small business. So the problem statement's simple. How do we help small businesses get on their best app stack, optimize it for them? And it's not a one solution. It actually involves multiple solutions. We're not here to talk about Appintree, but that helps give small businesses and their advisors, such as tech advisors and cloud implementation partners, the ability to optimize at scale their clients and what app stacks are on. But the secret sauce is ChannelBoost, which is what we are here about. today. And ChannelBoost is, in effect, the cement and mortar that brings this whole community together. So how do you get the tech advisors, the accounts and bookkeepers, the software providers, and the small businesses all working better together to get the great outcome? And that's where, not surprisingly, all of the, I guess, learnings, successes, experiences that we had at Xero for myself and the co-founders, in particular, Doug Laban, who's the CEO of CoachBar, it showed us the best way to actually solve this problem is through partner networks.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here today. And yes, it's relevant for our mission, but I think it's relevant for anyone who's trying to make a difference out there, in the business landscape.
Yeah, and it's funny because we've had Brian Williams on, who's like the doyen, the capital guru of partnerships as well. Talk about partnerships, but I really wanted to bring you on because you're coming from a different point of view, and because I see immense value in partnerships. We are growing a very, very vast partner platform, and we're going to be using ChannelBoost as part of that, and here and in the US, because we just see that how do we create this connected tissue between our partners and our product and our services and create this ecosystem. And everyone uses the word ecosystem, and I kind of think sometimes I sit there and go, it's just like, can we just put this in a pitch deck and make ourselves sound great? But it's more about creating. It's more about like how do we create connected experiences with our clients, and we know that like, for ourselves we can't solve all the problems for them. But if we've got things like products like ChannelBoost and that can solve other problems for them, we can bring them in. Then I think that's the answer there. But yeah, I love to learn. So that you talked about some of your learnings about partnerships and that when you're working with Xero. What are the ones that you've seen that generate just the best bottom line efforts in the end of the day? Because what happens a lot of times is partners are like, hey, we're partners. You see it all the time. Hey, we're partners, high five, 20% off. Like that's really like a set and forget type of partnership, which never works. So yeah, I'd love to hear some examples of really good partnerships that you've been a part of that's actually been able to provide profitable outcomes for everybody.
Sounds good. I will, and it won't be theory. It's through what's actually worked and not worked. But before we do that, why don't we just cut the fluff? Ecosystem is so overused, isn't it?
I did bullshit.
Yeah, I reckon. You know what? At the end of the day, what is an ecosystem? It's just a network. Like you've got a network of people. Like ecosystem kind of talks to brands and like companies, but underneath it, it's still a network of people within those
corporate
brands.
synergy.
Another word. Cut it. You can almost play fluff bingo, Ash, with all these names. Networks. That will never change. I think it will be sped up through better tools over time. But at the end of the day, and we've all been there. Sometimes people just don't like other people. Sometimes people find they really get on well. Sometimes there's betrayal of trust. There's a whole variety of reasons why some networks work and others don't. So yeah, I think.
Are you saying humans are complex, Rob?
Yeah, I think some would actually say I'm too simple, but yeah, I think you put three humans in a room, then the dynamic is always complex. Okay, so coming back to the question, what works, what doesn't work? So I found a really interesting stat on LinkedIn the other day, which is only like 1% of people post each week. And for the record, I am not in that 1%. I'm definitely in that 99%, probably at the opposite end of that bell curve, the 1% who doesn't post regularly. But what it does talk to, I think, is what we do as humans is consistency. And just turning up each day, being there, that sometimes is the key to success. And it's not just LinkedIn, it's definitely in partnerships. So all too often, and I'm sure Brian would have spoken about this and everyone talks about, there's the concept of a paper tiger partnership, which is people go in, it's documented, there's an agreement or a memorandum of understanding, depending what type of paper it is. Then there's usually a bit of PR that comes with it, and then nothing happens. And that happens in partnerships quite a lot. And, you know, why does that happen? I think sometimes through inexperience, but I think it's also, you know, it's important to have goals, but really it's the execution of a partnership that matters most. A little bit like marriage, you know, it's great to talk about intentions, but what you do each day in a marriage really matters most. So for me, partnerships really is the little 1% of knowing that the people that you're working with in your network, either formalized or informal, it's like, one, people have a really good read if you care about them or you don't care about them. And so yeah, each day, each week, you need high touch, and you need to be able to consistently do that. And that's fine when you only have a few partners, but once you start getting into the tens or hundreds of partners, then you need systems to be able to actually manage that. And communication is one thing, being there's another thing. Anyone who's dealt with, you know, customers that are in the 10 or partners in the 10, something where it's actually saying, hey, I want you to think of me in a good way to other people. To be able to actually proactively do that is really, really hard. And we've all been there certain days when we're not our best selves. We're just like, I'm just going to be reactive and try and get through this. But to proactively go forth and drive an outcome that's mutually beneficial to both you and to someone else requires systems and requires commitment on both sides.
Yeah, it's true. And you come back to, you said a word before, the most valuable word, I think, in the English dictionary is trust. And I think when the best partnerships are based off trust, and also too, expectations are managed. And I think one of the things that I find a lot of times is that someone will sign a partnership agreement with someone, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to," and the shit, we've fallen into this trap before, that we're going to bring in so many leads, it brings in nothing. And because the motivations are different, some people are like, some partnership managers just incentivize us to sign off partnership deals. And then the flow on from that is that so, like, if you're a consultant or a founder or whatever, and you're sitting there going, well, we're expecting X amount of leads and referrals to come through this particular channel, that doesn't come through because the motivation of that person is purely just they get an extra $50 or a $500 bonus for signing a partner. So I think you've got to get the trust and expectations aligned pretty early. Would you agree with that?
I agree with the sentiment. So
The sentiment, yeah.
For me, trust is a lag indicator. So you earn trust. No one gets trust at the outset of any relationship. So there's a lot of inputs that go in to actually earn that trust. And for me, it's three things. The first is care. Second's consistency. And then the third's accountability. Now, accountability is a bit corporate, so you could maybe argue that's fluffy, but you know, it's basically saying, does your partner in this channel or a strategic partner, or whomever it may be, do they think you have a high say-do ratio? Like, that's accountability. Doesn't really matter what it is. It's like, stepping up. I actually got that from the Access. Oh, no, I think it was from Carbon, Jared Baker. So, you know, Jared Baker et al. 2025. But a high say-do ratio yields good accountability. You do that consistently, and you do things that actually make the person understand that you care, because you can have great intentions of caring, but you actually have to show it through actions. Those three things categorically help build good relationships, which then build good partnerships. And this is the funny thing that people don't talk about in partnerships, or maybe not enough. When we have a partnership, you're not sitting there in an absolute 0 to 1 kind of environment. It's relative to what other partnerships they've got going on out there as well.
Yeah.
And I always think of the unique situation where, you know, let's pick an accountant or a bookkeeper, And they've got a partnership agreement with, in Australia anyway, let's call it MYOB, Intuit, and Xero.
Yeah.
Now, every day, a partnership team has to out-partner what those other partnership teams are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was actually talking about this with Brian Williams the other day, but it's like, what can you do on a daily basis to out-partner someone else? Now, we have to admit that not all software was built equally. And I'm not here talking about accounting ledger solutions, but just in general. And I've yet to see a partner channel work on a bad product.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, because but I mean, people sit there and go, well, you go back to the trust aspect. So if I turn around to you and say, hey, look, use this product, it's great, but I'm really just being incentivized for it, and then they start doing it, it's like, well, actually, no, this is a heap of crap. Like, it's basically a spreadsheet. It's or it's just this is like a task tool that I could get on my phone as a reminder. Like, it's so it's super interesting. That is super interesting because I like the idea of trust being a lag indicator. I definitely agree with that. I think it's also one of those. What I hear the other day, trust is earned by the drip, but it's lost by the bucket load.
But see, and this is where we come back to, like, bad product, that comes out in accountability straight away. Consistency is the drip, and it's that little. It's, it's the people that post in that 1% of LinkedIn every week. It's like, are you talking or engaging with your kind of top cohort of partners on a weekly basis? Like, what's the frequency piece? And at the end of the day, partner channels is a structure. Partnerships as a concept is nothing more than your network, and it's the interest of what you put into that network and what you get back from it. And if you think about just the concept of refer a friend or just referrals, so much it's unstructured. I kind of almost feel like it's referral leakage. It just happens all the time. It's a whole shadow economy that goes on. It's not just professional services. It's in every space. It's in our space, and building great SaaS solutions. But there's just referral leakage all the time. It doesn't mean it doesn't go on. It's just not being tracked.
Yeah, and that's probably the part I wanted to really lean into, the fact that the systemizing. So if I'm a consultant, I'm a simple little advisor, consultant, professional service. I sell advisory or strategy solutions into my 10 to 15 clients a year, or 500 clients a year, whatever it is. How do I, like, I've got all these referrals, I've got all these abilities, not referrals just even for coming in, because that's a great thing, but also to be able to bring, because I want to bring in products and solutions and partners that reflect my values, reflect my, get my tick, and not just get the 20% because, someone said, oh, you get 20% for this. What's the best way to systemize that from your point of view? I don't know, you're going to say ChannelBoost, so that's a bit of a lead in, but like, what's the best way to systemize that? Like, I mean, we've just invested a lot of time and effort into systemizing our affiliate and reselling program overseas, and about to bring in ChannelBoost, which is part of CoachBar, to help really solidify that. So there's investments going left, right, and center around that. But I'd love to hear from a professional services point of view why it's worth not automating, but creating a structure around this to effectively automate it, because automating saves time, and straight away there's savings there.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I won't go into what makes ChannelBoost unique. I'll probably go upriver from that, which is why start at all with indirect sales revenue. And you've got it already. I think everyone has it straight away. Like, anytime you start a business and you've got a network, and someone knows you've built a great product, then that person is probably talking about it to someone else. So it's an organic indirect revenue, word of mouth. We don't really track it. But there's a difference when you actually say, and this is the first bit that people need to decide, I have the intention to engineer and actually create systems, processes, and tools around growing indirect sales revenue. And that's the first piece. I don't think confidence comes into it. There's so much, like, it's actually quite easy to do the concept. it's just very hard to scale, and that's the difference. So I would say to anyone, they're kind of like, well, how do I grow? And it's like, well, yeah, you have to stack rank your options of growth with the cost it takes to actually grow. So, first one is actually knowing what that is. My argument for why I love partner channels, just full stop, and the engineering of partner channels is, and this has been proved time and time again, the investment costs to actually grow a partner channel and make the first step of seeding a partner channel is so low. Like, it's just so low. It's just engineering and saying, okay, well, who's out there that can actually talk about us, or who's out there that is actually doing a problem that, if they combine it with our solution to a problem, is better for joint customers, which then kind of goes into co-selling. So there's lots of different ways you can go initially, but at that point where you kind of go, we're onto something here. We've got great product, or a solution with others that is compelling. How do we actually start scaling that? Then that's when things get challenging. And I think for me, it was probably the first true salient lesson I got inside Xero, and this would have been back in 2013, 14. How do you give that partner experience to the 100th partner and you make them feel like it was for the first partner? It is so hard. You get into 1,000, 2,000, then it gets really, really challenging. So the system side is essential. And yeah, you're right. Like you said, saving time, categorically. Like, just even the paperwork of doing agreements with partners takes time. So this is why we created great software. Digital applications, they're there to help us save times between control points across a process or a value chain of actions that you could do manually. But then after that, it's like, cool, I've saved myself time, but at what expense of my partner's experience? And this is what happens all the time in systems, not just here in our space, but across the board. We've created a system, but all we're doing is taxing someone else's time, and it's a zero-sum game where I'm the benefit. Now, this is ChannelBoost as a starting point and as a principle internally, is we're there to improve not just the partner's life, but also the software provider's life. So that means we're not there trying to tax the partners. It's about actually driving a great partner experience for them and saving them time, as well as the software providers running the channel as well.
And that was my about to lead. So glad we're leading into the ChannelBoost stuff. So if I'm a consultant, how's it helped me build my referral network, being a part of a ChannelBoost, being a ChannelBoost user effectively?
Yeah. Okay. So if we think about a coin, and Empiraa is on one side, and then you've got amazing consultants or affiliate or resellers on the other side, then ChannelBoost is the middle part. So you need to have great way of lodging leads and referrals with zero friction. That's the first one. Great ways to actually get the learning and education, and just even brand asset management, so that if someone's going co-branding, making sure both sides are adhering to brand rules. When you log into a portal, one of the biggest challenges when you're running a partner program is, are we talking about the same data? So you need to make sure that when you have dashboards and widgets on those dashboards, that you're seeing the same thing as your partner's seeing as well, because you want to be able to talk in the same language. And then the secret sauce about what we talked before, the consistency and the accountability. What are you doing each month or each quarter with mutual success planning sessions? What are you doing in terms of holding each other accountable? And, the role that I had prior to joining CoachBar, we had some amazing partners, and we'd do weekly and fortnightly whips with them around who's doing what with these targets that we're talking to. And that takes so much time with the follow-up and the actions that involves as well. So again, how do you simplify all the repeat tasks that you do with such high frequency, and then hold each other accountable to that? Now, when that happens, you get great outcomes straight away. There is so much inside ChannelBoost. This is the interesting thing. And I'd say, a kudos to Doug LeBarn for the way that he's built this. We're a 2-year-old company now, most companies, when they start, it's lean, like super lean. Doug's vision, for want of another word, was, okay, we know where we want to play. We know the problem statement. So we've got 80 people inside CoachBar now. Over 50 of those are product engineers building this out at
That's
pace.
unreal.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, just today we got SOC 2 compliant, ISO 27001, and we've been launched a brand campaign module. You can do refer a friend now, payouts through Stripe. And we even build to people's revenue architecture. So, one of the biggest pain points that we heard from partners is we don't trust the commission statements that we get from our software vendors.
Yeah.
And it's a fair call because that's built up on user experience. So we want to solve that. And one of the ways we do that is build bespoke APIs to whatever revenue engine that the software provider is using. So if there's a price change during the year, we can factor that into the commission statements. If there's expansion revenue, contraction revenue, churn, all of that can be automated. So, bringing that credibility back into the commission statements for partners is a small win. But the biggest win is, everyone's time poor. So we want to kind of create a partner experience. I don't like to use the word portal because that's where it was, not where it's going to, but that partner experience where you can remove as much friction and create like an omni experience. So, there's no reason that a partner that has relationships with half a dozen or a dozen software providers in our network, not ecosystem, but in our network, can't manage all of them from one place. And so, we don't have all the answers just yet, but what we do have are the right people who can build the solutions as we keep talking to our partners to keep removing every little inch of friction involved in that experience and that relationship that they have with all their software vendors.
Yeah, and it's funny, it's interesting because sometimes you'll speak to professional service companies and like, we've got deals with this, that, and all the other, and we don't really have much visibility. We've got to take a bit of the trust. So this actually gives you sort of that visibility on a day-to-day. Okay, well, I know, because this is all about how do we help professional services, consultants, advisors, agent, accountants get predictable recurring revenue from their partners, because it's a really great opportunity for consultants, and especially like we speak to a lot of business consultants in the US, and they, one of the sort of the big pitch points for us is actually working quite well is, well, you can actually resell the product, and then also too there's affiliate fees and all that sort of stuff, and they're like, because they always see things that are very lumpy. They've all been conditioned to have this lumpy revenue, where things like working with partners and that can actually create a very heighten your floor of your revenue. So at least you're getting this nice little recurring revenue every month that you go, well, actually, if I've got, I'm working with Xero or QuickBooks and Empiraa and all this, suddenly I'm getting, $500, $600, $700 a month, $1,000 a month. At least it helps there. So that's probably really important. So you're able to, with what you're doing with ChannelBoost, how's it with like pipeline? Because we've had a conversation with pipelines with Ian from Loading Growth. How's it help with pipeline management, that sort of stuff, of your partners, understanding where they're at, that type of stuff?
Yeah, 100%. So just on that point around recurring revenue, partner channels globally, yes, they have recurring incentivization. So, and I think one of the best constructs is where you can have incentivization over multiple years. And it aligns the incentivization of the partner who's influencing that joint customer when they're coming up for renewal. So it makes sense that they should be influenced for that. But this is the thing. If they love a product like Empiraa, they're going to be talking to them anyway. So, why not crystallize it into something structured? Just kind of, you're leaving money on the table there. Now, in terms of pipeline management, this is one of the great things around having what we call a partner relationship management tool, which you can run partners from a CRM, but anyone who's tried that knows straight away just how difficult that is, because it's difficult. Having said that, a CRM is always the source of truth when it comes to the end user and the product things. So number one, you want to make sure that you've got a really articulated and nuanced API that has a two-way sync between a PRM and a CRM. Like, that's just table stakes today, so that everyone knows exactly in real time what's happening in terms of the partners moving their deals through a pipeline. But, and this is one of just the basics of partner channel. Actually, there's two things, the basics of the partner channels, which you'd be surprised most people don't do. One, know your partner. Like, what is your ideal partner profile or ideal partner profiles? And then two, what's the partner journey that you want them to experience when they're engaging with you? So in Empiraa, it's like, okay, cool. There's going to be onboarding. There's going to be education, activation, nurturing, making sure they become advocates. And like in everything, like when it comes to populations, there's going to be an 80-20 rule. Like, there's going to be 20%. And it could just be with their timing as well. But that top 20% of partners will deliver 80% of the results. So you need to know who they are. You need to start then thinking around the segmentation of those top, as well as kind of the more inactive partners, and what you're doing to them. Coming back to what we said earlier of like, how do you out-partner other partners when it comes to the experience they have? And this is where I think with ChannelBoost, we're bringing, something unique to the table. And what that is speed. And what I mean by that is, in the past, a lot of these PRMs or partner relationship management tools have, great records similar to a CRM. But when you wanted to make changes to a partner program and execute on those, you then start hitting bottlenecks in marketing teams, digital teams, PR, branding teams. So we went back to the drawing board, and our amazing product and engineer founder, Deepak Gujjar, came up with this concept of, wouldn't it be great, or how might we obviate those bottlenecks? And what we came up with is this concept of reverse proxies. So similar to like a Wix or a Squarespace, you can build a partner directory to give visibility of who your partners are. And they could be tech partners or managed service providers, whatever the partners are. But also, how do you do almost like a Squarespace, build your own web page for your actual partner program? So we've done that. You can now put those three up on your website, on your partners' websites, whatever it may be. There's links for social media. It's like best in class in terms of directories, like genuinely best in class. But the great thing is, it then gives the owner, like yourself, Ash, or a partner manager, the tools to say, hey, we're making a change. And you know what? When I make that change, it's done in real time and it's reflected on our website. So that speed to what the world can see is a game changer. It is unique, and it's great. So I'll give you a real life case of how this works. I am going to XeroCon later in the year, and I want to run a 2-day spiff of saying to my network, hey, if you see anyone or hear anyone that is interested in, deploying a partner program, scaling a partner program, let me know. I'm putting in a 2-day reward, and all I need to do, and it takes seconds to do this, is just get into ChannelBoost, say this is the reward. It could be $500, it could be a voucher, whatever it may be, percentage of one revenue. It goes up. Anything that's logged during those 2 days, and it's being reflected on the website as saying this is available, as well as going through the socials, that comes in, and it all flows through in terms of the manual back end of commission payouts, rewards, non-financial incentivizations. And it takes seconds to do. At the end of 2 days, I literally just toggle it off, and I can wait till next year to turn it back on. I could even do A/B testing in a partner channel now, which is a world first. No one's ever done that. So this is creating tools which I think fundamentally will change the way people run and manage and scale partner channels in the future.
Yeah, that it's funny. Not funny. It's awesome that people are actually thinking of ways to solve and automate problems like partner channels. Because for so long, like I remember when I first got into this tech space, or you know, call it a million years ago. It feels like now, and to be fair, every day feels like a million years, so it's okay. And it was hammered. You know, you got to get partners, you got to get partners, you got to get partners, you got to get partners. And then I started signing partners up, and I was like, this is the most pointless exercise because like no one was actually doing anything. It was like, can we just share logos? And the fact that you're actually solving a problem and going, okay, so this is sharing logos on LinkedIn and getting, 100, thumbs up and people giving you congratulations on something that's pretty superficial, which is 99% of LinkedIn, but that's a story for another day. But but if you can actually build something that's actually generating value, the big V, to everybody, I think that's really really impactful. So before we head off, Rob, I'm always big on this one. What's your top three tips? What's your top three tips for consultants to help them build a much better partner network?
Yeah. Okay. Well, first off, number one, people go to your website. So you need to show the world and give visibility of your network. So obviously I'm talking about ChannelBoost and the directories there, but everyone should be talking about their network on their website. This, you have it, make it visible. Number two, focus on the negative space of what's not moving through a funnel in partnerships. And this is where you need regular check-ins. It can be automated, asynchronous, face-to-face. It doesn't matter. But when things aren't being focused on, which it comes back to the accountability, then partnership channels go stale. So you need to be able to know what's not moving forward. And for that, you definitely need a system. And then the third one, you said before, find partners, find partners, find partners. I would keep coming back to saying, find the right partners. You're going to keep finding the right partners. The only way you know what your right partners are is to somewhere document what partners you don't want. So that at a starting point is that we all lose in business when we focus too much time and attention and resources on that which doesn't matter or that which is not relevant enough. So, your return on investment should always go to the right partners and not waste time, attention, and energy on the wrong partners.
Completely agree. And I think that's like with any of your network, whether it's clients, consultants, people that you deal with, find find your tribes. And I think if you can do that, especially with your partner network, find the people and find the people and partners that provide value, that are core to your vision and core to your customer's vision. I think you can't go wrong.
And this is a really interesting thing. I think, thanks for this conversation today, Ash, because it's kind of helped me firm it up in my mind as well. We are all the sum of our networks. Like at the end of the day, what we've invested in with our time with other people and, built those relationships, on that spectrum of trust, but we are our networks. Partner channels and where we move into formal partnerships is where we move from that network to something that is an ongoing existence for a business. So you're kind of crystallizing a network into something that says, okay, if Ash or Rob was to remove themselves away from this network, that partnership could be carried on as a stewardship through someone else. And that's something that's really, really interesting in my mind. And listen, we're only at the start of this. Like, we're about to release a research report that looks at the number of companies that are actually doing partnership channels. And the great thing is there's so much upside, and, we're deploying innovative tools. I've got no doubt over the next 5-10 years, there's going to be even more innovations coming into this space. So it's a really, really good place to be there. But, thank you for the opportunity to at least start talking about what do we do with our networks and how do we actually, move them from something that's organic to, something where you can actually, get a return on that investment as a business owner.
No, it's great. And Rob, where will they find CoachBar, ChannelBoost? Where they find? I know you're easy to find on LinkedIn, but give everyone give yourself a plug, mate. Give yourself a plug. Where do we find you?
Yeah, so go to www.channelboost.com and you'll see in there 5 use cases, which are the starting point for what you can do with your business when it comes to indirect sales. ChannelBoost is more than just a partner relationship management tool. It's a channel management tool. So over time, we're going to be able to give more visibility to software providers and anyone who wants to run an indirect sales revenue to actually get visibility on 2 additional things. What are they? Number 1, what's happening on the direct side? So can we actually add channels of revenue to your business? That's our goal as well. But 2, we want to go back to our mission and our purpose, which is how do we actually help small businesses be on their best app stack? And I love this concept, and this is where we're going to. Everyone's focused on a pipeline of new to close won or close lost. We want to punch through the close won, close lost zone into successfully implemented software and give that ability back to both the advisors as well as the software providers of saying, hey, not only did someone buy your software, but either you or a third party has given a wonderful implementation, and that small business is now set up for success on that software, and it's working well with other software. Now, no one solved that. You can get that when you stitch various pieces together, but we want to make a single pipeline that goes all the way up to close won, close lost, and then move through to successfully implemented. And I think that's something that's going to be really exciting. I'm definitely excited by it. And I think it's going to help all the software providers out there make sure that their churn goes down and their advocacy and word of mouth and NPS from their small business users goes up.
Perfect. It's good, man. It's really, really good. It's the fact what you and Doug are doing with CoachBar, ChannelBoost, and actually investing in the future of what we're doing with channels, with partners, is some people can look around corners, and you guys are doing that. So, well done. So, but thanks again, Rob. This is awesome. Once again, we have a great job. Go way back, probably 5 years now, which is fantastic. And it's a long time now. But once again, thanks, Rob, for that. If you find ChannelBoost, jump on their website, have a look, reach out to Rob directly. I don't think that you'll be disappointed, especially if you're investing in channels, partner channels. Myself, Empiraa, Empiraa, because everyone spells it with an I or a Q or Batman symbol. Got no idea, but that's how you find it. Empiraa.com. We're here to service the advisory, consulting, and professional services community to help them get real insights into their clients' strategies. So once again, thanks very much for everyone for being a part of it, and definitely thanks for you, Rob. Speak soon.
Thanks, Ash. Cheers, mate. Catch you later.